Continue with our coverage now around the state capture inquiry. National Treasury economist Catherine MacLeod has detailed the impact of Nhlanhla Nene's removal as finance minister back in 2015. She's told the state capture inquiry that the country has not enjoyed a budget surplus since then. eNCA's Erin Bates is, of course, tracking the story for us. She joins us now live from the newsroom. Erin, that's an incredible thing to think about, the economy, in effect, having not recovered yet from Nhlanhla Nene's removal.
Correct, Michelle, but what's so critical about what MacLeod testified today at the Zondo Commission is that she spoke about the broader impact of what she called the state capture project on the South African economy and investor confidence in South Africa. Now, she says her team at National Treasury together worked on modelling what impact Nene-gate had on state debt and South Africa's ability to service its debts, never mind make a dent into the money we owe lenders, because for a long time, South Africa's economy or budget deficit means that we've had to borrow money to meet our costs as a state every year.
Now, Erin, I heard Justice Zondo sort of trying to address the issue around how the markets reacted when Des van Rooyen was appointed for those 48 hours as finance minister. And he said painstakingly that, in fact, when Trevor Manuel was appointed in the late 90s, there was some negative sentiment from the markets as well. In fact, when Pravin Gordhan was reappointed, there was also sort of a bit of jitteriness, and he's trying to explain the reaction to Des van Rooyen. What did Catherine MacLeod have to say about that?
Yes, so she spoke to those questions from Zondo, saying that in the case of Nene-gate and then Gordhan's appointment afterwards, she viewed the fact that there was ongoing pressure on Gordhan once reappointed finance minister, which contextualized a kind of wariness from investors in terms of their confidence in the South African economy. And that while they did look at Nene-gate and its impact on state debt and our ability to service that debt, there were contextual factors that continued long after Nene-gate. And so she spoke about this broad state capture project and its impact on the modelling they did on the state's ability to not only grow or not economically, but also to manage those debts. And in terms of the appointments, she said that, yes, there is place for some volatility in terms of the appointments of different finance ministers, but in the case, of Nene and van Rooyen and then Gordhan, she said that the broader political landscape and policy uncertainty is really what caused so much consternation in terms of investors looking at the South African fiscus.
And sort of a moment of spice there at the state capture inquiry, with MacLeod being asked around what does she make of someone who says when the rand falls, of course referring to Nomvula Mokonyane's statement, it can just be picked up?
Yes, well, she said that was someone who was clearly not up to speed on what kind of bearable or tangible impact these kinds of decisions make for people on the breadline, for people who are ordinary citizens living their lives dependent on a stable fiscus. She gave, for example, the case study of pension funds, that when people take out their pensions during a volatile period, the value of those pensions is lower. Also, banks looking around for potential support and investors are then under further pressure because there isn't widescale confidence in the economy. And so she really rubbished this idea that if you play with policy and induce a volatile economy, that you can just pick it up afterwards. She said that doesn't bear out in terms of the modelling that she and colleagues at National Treasury did.
Yeah, ordinary South Africans bearing the brunt of the challenges we've had in the economy. Erin, of course, we are now building up to that first Eskom witness taking the stand on Friday, but for the next 2 days at the state capture inquiry, investigators painting a picture?
Yes, so two advocates from the inquiry's legal team, Advocate Vincent Maleka, Senior Counsel, and Advocate Thandi Norman, Senior Counsel, are set to go through a number of reports and set the scene for us on Eskom, looking into possibly investigations by Parliament and also a private consulting company into what happened in terms of Eskom's agreement with McKinsey and other issues around Tegeta and Optimum. And once that scene has been set, once that ground has been laid, 28. Then we will see our first Eskom witness on Friday.
And of course, it's all so timely, Erin, given the blackouts we saw just last week, also given that we're counting down to the budget speech tomorrow, when we're hoping to hear from the minister himself what his plans are for Eskom.
Precisely, and that's why it's so interesting if we look back at what Brian Molefe said to our colleague Aldrin Sampier on Sunday during Politburo, concerns about what actually led to the crisis at Eskom historically and currently, and put that into perspective with what we heard from MacLeod today around the economic consequences of policy uncertainty and playing with the markets. And that really does play into what we're going to see this next week, and of course tomorrow with the budget speech.
All right. So thanks very much, as always, for that update. Erin Bates is our State Capture Inquiry reporter.